been able to defeat the immortal Hulk Hogan, except yourself. You see, Hogan, you're the one that created me. And because of that, it's this simple. Your demise is etched in stone.
Alright. Hello.
What's up? I got the cue, and I wasn't quite sure if that was a cue. But this is the special bonus episode of Real Alien Talk.
Backstage features.
Right. Something like that. There's someone coming to Rockstar Pro at the Spring Break pay-per-view, iPay-per-view, that I'm personally very, very excited about. That's the Taskmaster Kevin Sullivan.
Oh.
Like I said on our last episode, I expect him to show up in the full Dungeon of Doom robe.
Makeup and everything.
Right. Just like how I remember him. And I'm very, very excited about this. He's doing a seminar too, right? The day of the show?
Yeah, the day of the show.
So any interest... I mean, this is a golden opportunity, honestly. Like,
I'm going to it.
Someone that has that knowledge, also Shane Douglas, I mean, they're doing this simultaneously, correct?
Yes, they're both doing this.
I mean, for that amount of knowledge between two guys and the rest... Just Sullivan alone, the amount you can learn from him, that's like, you can't pass that up.
And maybe just to fill people in, the funniest thing to start the whole thing about the Kevin Sullivan was you and I had a thing going. We were talking about the 3 cages of doom, or the Tower of Doom, or whatever it was.
Right.
And then
uncensored 1996 pay-per-view.
Yeah, and then
Mania 70s.
Yeah, and it was kind of a weird match, you know.
Very weird to say.
Very weird match. So then you filled me in on a podcast where Sullivan kind of explains that, you know, Hogan forgot half of what the hell was going on and this and that.
Right.
So which then we were like, well, let's go back and watch this. And we were doing a podcast while Ben was in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Let's watch this now. We know what the podcast, what was kind of going on.
Right.
And we're all talking about this, and then he actually calls on the phone looking for the show. So it was weird that's how it happened.
Very strange. As we were watching this, he calls.
Maybe he does have powers.
It does.
Hey,
yeah.
Who knows? That podcast is it's on the MLW Radio Network, and it's called it's Mr. St. Laurent interviewing Kevin Sullivan, and he'll go week by week. The podcast is called Hell of a Deal with Kevin Sullivan, and he'll go week by week, like on Nitro, and say, okay, when I was booking, this is what I had in mind for the overall show on each Nitro, and then he'll do a special episode for the pay-per-views. So it's really like... it
was very informative.
Yeah, if you're someone that, you know, has interest in, like, booking shows, like how they're put together, like if you're like a student in the game, then you should definitely check it out. And part of the seminar, like I'm sure you're going to get a part of that from Kevin Sullivan. Just, you know, such a vast knowledge of the wrestling business.
Oh, totally.
Been in the business for started in Florida.
Yeah.
You know, just amazing career.
I mean, he comes, he's like, oh, I was taught by Kevin Sullivan. Like, oh, okay, cool.
Right. That means something.
Yeah.
But just his knowledge of like backstage and like booking and
just dealing with the boys and the guys and how to fucking build their bullshit.
Okay, think WCW 1995. Like, think of the egos and all you had to manage to be the booker around that time.
Oh,
God. You had Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage. You have to find a way to take care of all these people, you know, at the same time writing the show.
Like a Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Was there the same time Hulk Hogan?
Huge superstars in the business that you have to find a way to keep everybody happy.
Yeah.
It's not easy. It's not easy at all. But this particular episode of Real Alien Talk, one of my all-time favorite groups in wrestling, Dungeon of Doom. And I wanted to hit you with my personal favorite members of the Dungeon of Doom.
Well, that's cool.
And not to cut you up, but Kevin Sullivan's responsible for 2. Your favorite Dungeon of Doom and one of my favorite groups, the Varsity Club. He also created.
And I'm also a fan of the Varsity Club.
So that's 2 groups.
As a kid watching that, I thought it was kind of weird because I always knew... I read the magazines, and this was kind of the first time I'd seen Sullivan, when I really got to see NWA all the time. And I had read the magazines, I knew he did like the devil gimmick and all that.
Yeah.
So he came in with Varsity Club, I'm like, well, why is he not evil anymore? Why is he like a college wrestler? But I like both versions. That was a great group.
Yeah.
You had Steve Williams.
It was a very believable, badass group.
Yeah. Mike Rotundo. Now, do you remember when briefly the Varsity Club came back towards the end of WCW?
No.
It wasn't as good then.
Who was in it? Do you remember?
It was Sullivan back.
Was Rotunda as that...
Rotunda came
was
back.
Was he the money guy when he was in WCW?
IRS.
No, in IRS, when they brought him back in WCW, he was like... he was like...
VK Wall Street.
Yeah, well, that's what it was. Wall Street, yeah.
And I think he dropped that by this point and just became Mike Rotunda again.
Oh, thank God, because it was horrible.
And this was weird. They had a cheerleader. Do you remember Kimona Wanalea from East?
She actually was a cheerleader.
She was back as a cheerleader for the Varsity Club.
I'll have to look this up.
Yeah, it's a very forgotten era for, that... A lot of weird shit was going on.
A lot of shit was happening.
A lot of stuff that came out and you just don't see it anymore.
I think I looked it up because I think Dr. Death replaced Sullivan in Varsity Club at some point when they got rid of Sullivan.
I think that's right.
Point.
And
I'll have to look
Rick
it up.
Steiner was a member at one point.
Yeah.
And he was like the whipping boy, right? Like they didn't like him, but he was kind of like the face of the group.
Yeah. And he actually worked for Vince Sr., actually, too.
Kevin Sullivan?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was a fact, too, yeah.
Been around long enough.
Yeah. But go back to Dungeon and Doom, yeah.
Dungeon and Doom, my top... I could probably give you like a top 20 list of Dungeon and Doom members. There were not many. And I could order them. I could give you each one in order if you wanted. But I'll probably keep it to like 5.
Yeah.
Okay, and hands down, the very first... Okay, to give you a little background, before Dungeon Doom, way before this, following the magazines, I knew in Florida that Purple Haze was part of... Mark Lewin was part of Sullivan's group.
Yeah, he's part of the whole...
And they kind of had a pre-Dungeon and Doom group back then.
Yeah.
Wasn't the Dungeon and Doom, but I don't know if they actually had a name for the group, but it was Mark Lewin, Kevin Sullivan, Superstar Billy Graham was a part for a short time, yeah. And then he turned against Sullivan's group.
That's where he got his big pop from.
Yeah. And they were feuding with like Dusty Rhodes and all this. And there was like a mystery member that never got seen called Abudadeen.
Yeah, because he's the one who resurrected the Purple Haze.
And he's a funny fact. My first band was called Abudadeen.
On purpose?
Yes. And the other members were like, "What does this mean?" And I was like, "It's just don't worry about it." They never really knew what it was about. It was a wrestling reference.
Like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, just we're gonna go with it. They liked it because But Abudadeen was the kind of like the hidden master of the kind of gave advice to Sullivan, but you never saw him as a character or a wrestler.
Like the one guy from, but he's similar to the other guy from...
Right. And tying into that, when the Dungeon of Doom actually started, it was the, number one member right here, the Master. Mm-hmm. It was King Curtis Iakea. When Dungeon of Doom started, there was a promo where Kevin Sullivan... I can't remember what he was doing before that, but just kind of wandered around. I think he had a feud with his brother that was dyslexic. Evad Sullivan.
Was that the bigger one to worship Hulk Hogan later on?
Yeah. It was Dave Sullivan,
Dave Sullivan,
but he was Evad because he was like dyslexic.
Yeah.
And Kevin Sullivan was in there just fighting him, and not a lot of shit was going on. So I think it was after a match with Evad Sullivan where he beat him. The Master, King Curtis Iakea, who was amazing at promos, just threw in all this like crazy, just all these references that no one did in the promos. You know what I mean? Yeah. He summoned Sullivan. Sullivan's like running through the jungle trying to get to the Master, and the Master gives him this the quest of forming the Dungeon of Doom to destroy Hulkamania
in the jungle.
Right. And think about this, like at booking, like Sullivan's kind of main job was to give a lot of heels to Hulk Hogan, like kind of they did in...
Yeah, defeating big guy.
Yeah, like kind of they did in WWF. There's going to be a lot of heels that Hogan needed to go through.
Yeah.
So thinking that, Sullivan was like, okay,
but they
I'll
usually
give
had
you Dungeon of Doom.
Because Hulk Hogan was so fucking big, they usually had to get bigger guys who are not that athletic.
Yeah. And this was a way to work in a lot of the guys he worked with in WWF, like kind of with like a new coat of paint. Mm-hmm. In the Dungeon of Doom later, you had Kamala... Avalanche, was the he later became the Shark.
The Shark
in Dungeon Doom. None of these actually make my top list. I like Kamala. I'm still a big Kamala fan. Avalanche is good.
Yeah.
But like I said, number 1 is the Master. Obviously, number 2 has to be Sullivan. That's the number 2 member, right? Number 3, I'd say the Zodiac. It was a cool gimmick. I don't care what you think about Brutus Beefcake.
He started out as
It was a cool gimmick.
It was better than Booty Man.
Yeah, it was much. Now, okay, that really threw me off because he's Zodiac for like maybe a year and a half, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow just becomes the Booty Man.
The Booty Man out of nowhere.
The Zodiac was like I don't know really how to describe his gimmick. He would chant like yes, no, yes, like he was very confused.
But
it's a cool gimmick. Come on,
here's the thing that I didn't like about
only hanging.
Kamala is better than fucking Zodiac.
Well, yeah.
How can you say Kamala is not?
We're talking gimmick. I mean,
fucking Zodiac.
I'm not thinking of
Zodiac had like a fucking unicorn horn.
I'm talking right here about Dungeon of Doom.
Yeah.
I don't care what else Brutus Beefcake did at any point in his career.
Yeah.
But in the Dungeon of Doom, Zodiac was cool.
Three Faces of Fear is what Dungeon of Doom was before Dungeons of Doom.
Right, okay. The prototype in WCW, before all this happened, Sullivan had assembled the Three Faces of Fear.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the Butcher, later to become the Zodiac. And later Avalanche.
Mm-hmm.
And Avalanche later became the Shark. Within Dungeon
Which is
of Doom.
ridiculous. Why a fucking shark? Like, that makes no sense.
It was better than what his name was after the shark. It was like they went with his real name, didn't they? And it was something.
Just John Tenta.
Yeah, yes, and it was really lame because like.
Well, at least that makes sense. That's his fucking name.
Thing with him and
Shark.
He shaved his head, like half his head.
Right.
And it was,
Earthquake, bigger guy. That makes Avalanche bigger guy.
I like Shark better than his name.
He had the big
why
beard.
Not whale? Why not fucking whale? Or great shark or something like shark.
Okay, a shark is more fierce than a whale.
Right.
I mean,
on the
killer whale.
I
mean, come on.
On the scale of vicious sea animals, vicious sea animals, you would put a shark.
But you
first.
have two natural disasters that just wipe fucking tons of people
Typhoon
out.
earthquake.
But then shark.
Well, a whale is kind of like lumbering and slow.
But
you don't want to really get that impression.
I
guess biblically it's really scary.
But it's bigger. Like, why you think...
I'm sorry.
All right. You guys can disagree with me about the Zodiac.
I'll have to disagree. I think a shark is more fierce than a whale.
Okay.
Kamala was better than the fucking Zodiac.
You think so?
Yeah.
Right. I'm kind of with him. I think Kamala
I respect your opinion, but you're wrong.
The only thing is because...
With all due respect.
Because they're in the jungle. That one makes sense. Okay, Kamala jungle, blah, blah, blah.
And don't get me wrong, I was always a big Kamala fan. I was a huge Koala fan.
So
I remember a particular magazine, a cover where he was supposedly eating a raw chicken.
Yeah.
He had a chicken, he's just about to take a bite in it. That was like the coolest fucking thing I'd ever seen. Amazing to me. So you disagree with me about Zodiac? Fair enough.
I think Kamala overrides.
Overrides? Alright, okay. We're having a discussion, I'll let you give your opinion out.
The one thing about the Zodiac 2 that always drove me crazy is when he went from the barber to Zodiac to Booty Man, he still wore the arm things and shit. Like, he didn't even change.
He's like, I'm doing a new gimmick, but I can't let my old one go.
Until he was like the disciple, he finally was like, hey, I think I'll stop wearing these arm things that everybody knows me by.
Did he? I think he might have kept them.
Did he keep them even
then?
this?
He had leather ones.
But that was the one gimmick I was like, oh, who's this? And it took me a few minutes to go, oh, that's
he grew the big beard in so much that you, like, at first you're like, I'm not really sure who this is.
Yeah, as a kid I was like, who?
Dude, the most fucked up part about it is him and Elizabeth would wear the same exact thing when he was a disciple. They both wore jeans, chaps, leather jackets, fucking tassels. It was like, him and Miss Elizabeth are dressed exactly the fucking same.
Okay, I'm going to hit you with a couple you might have forgotten. These are some later Dungeon of Doom members to kind of show, just how... Okay, let me see. I'm looking at an official list right here. And there's one they might have even forgotten. Let me check and make sure.
And that's internet. It can't be wrong.
Okay.
But I agree with you. Sullivan should be number one of that list.
Near the end is Braun the Leprechaun.
I have no idea.
The hell is that?
It was entertaining. Look up Braun the Leprechaun on YouTube or whatever. I might post some matches later on the Real Aliens.
Is that his own gimmick? Was he?
He was a midget and he was a leprechaun. He came out in front of the ring.
Dude, come on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Racist.
We're in the PC world. PC, be overly PC. It was a little person. I think he'd prefer to be called a midget, actually.
Vertically challenged.
Right.
Get a fucking
Braun the Leprechaun. This is toward the end of the Dungeon of Doom. like they didn't really. They kind of splintered off a little bit. And Sullivan
so 2 weeks after they got started.
No. It was 2 years. I think it was 2 years.
Yeah, Dungeon and Doom.
Oh my god, it went on for 2 years.
95 to 97.
Went for quite a while.
I could be wrong on that, but I think it was 95 to 97.
97 was kind of the end after the Tower of Doom match we watched.
They said Tower of Doom, and they said pretty much after the feud with Macho Man and Hogan was kind of done, they kind of split off, and certain members would, like they had the Shark change his gimmick and go against Bubba, and everybody splintered off a little bit.
There was a small heel-on-heel feud where some members kind of fought NWO for a while.
Yeah.
And NWO kind of like...
They said that's pretty much
put the nail on
that was pretty much it, yeah.
Yeah. Let me hit you with... just looking at this list, let me give you a couple you may have forgotten about. Do you remember the Yeti? The Yeti?
Was the giant guy who was a mummy? Was that the mummy?
Yeah, the mummy.
And later...
which I understand he was a mummy, but they called him the Yeti. Like
Right.
That didn't make sense.
Later he had thawed out, apparently, and stopped wearing the bandages or whatever. Remember on World War III? Didn't we watch that last...
Yeah, we watched
and
it.
he had like a ninja suit.
Yeah.
And he was totally different. Like, they were like, well, we're
Still
not
couldn't wrestle, really, but...
Yeah. Not really known for his technical wrestling. Shit, I just went on something else. He later became... he was in Raven's Flock.
Oh, was he the big beard guy?
Ron Reese.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Same guy?
So they tried to have something, you know...
Victim of Goldberg?
Sometimes if a guy can't really... set up to be a victim
but you're still your gimmick. You're fucking huge.
Like, you put him in a group, because he can't really wrestle on his own, but...
Can't talk, can't wrestle, just mingles around.
But he looks... He's
a oddity. He's a...
you got it.
Draws attention.
Yeah.
Along those lines of guys that really couldn't... You know, they really didn't have much for them, but they were going to put them in the Dungeon of Doom. There was another guy called Max Muscle. Tell me what you know about Max Muscle.
Not much.
Not much?
He sounds like one of those... What the hell is those little things from the 80s? The
Muscle Man?
Yeah, Muscle Man.
I have those in my hair.
But did we have to see by chance he was in some commercial or something? Like,
did he really?
He was in some commercial for WCW.
I think also WCW loaned him to ECW for a couple shows also, I believe.
Really?
I think so.
They did do that back in the days, like guys they didn't really have much for.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did.
You can go to ECW and get some experience. Kind of like in WWF, they would send like Al Snow there.
And also, I believe
it
was part of a lawsuit also, ECW.
Pillman left.
Yeah.
He went from WCW to
Mick Foley was part of the lawsuit.
Went back,
I think also.
Eventually went to WWE. And
do you remember One Man Gang being a part of? I actually don't really remember.
I saw his name on there, and I don't remember him being part of it. But he was on that list and another list.
No, he was. He dressed like the crazy guy. That's when he dyed his hair different colors and shit. It was actually one of his better gimmicks.
I don't remember. I'll have to look it up.
According to this list, you know, the internet has known to be wrong, but...
He was on another list, too, and I thought it was kind of weird that I don't remember him.
One Man Gang, this says 1996 was his... We're actually looking at Wikipedia / The Dungeon of Doom. You can follow along at home and just see... This gives you the full history of the Dungeon of Doom. In case you're really like OCD and you know every single detail. Kind of like me. Like, you do some serious research on
this. You need to add something to
I usually go between 2 or 3 websites, and if they kind of match information, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Either they're really good liars, or it's kind of right. So.
Okay, now what did I say? The Master, number 1. Sullivan, of course, being number 2.
Let me see this.
I think Sullivan would be number 1, man, because without him, you wouldn't have the...
You can't count Sullivan, I don't think.
What? Come on now. You can't have the Dungeon of Doom without Sullivan or the Master.
I think it's
guys, come on. Well, Zodiac was number 3 on my list. Your list may branch off right about there.
Here, if you need to take a look at that.
Okay, give me your top 5.
Rank that list. So he's looking right now.
Okay. Definitely Sullivan number 1.
Okay.
Ming.
Now, there's one we're forgetting that probably had the most success in the Dungeon of Doom.
Big Van Vader.
Was Big Van Vader?
Yeah, they said Vader was on that.
Really? So Sullivan, Big Van Vader, Ming, fuck Lex Luger, fuck Hugh Morris. Oh, no, Hugh Morris. Get him, definitely.
I'd put him in there.
Yeah. And
I don't remember him being in it, but...
And Conan.
Conan was in it?
Yeah.
In the Dungeon of Doom?
Yeah, so Sullivan, Big Van Vader, Ming, Hugh Morris, and Conan.
Okay. That's a fair list. There's one we're forgetting, which was the Giant.
Yeah, the Giant.
Paul White
Kevin Sullivan introduced
and
the
Z
Giant,
Z Gangsta.
Z Gangsta, part of the big Tower of
the
Doom.
Tower of Doom at the very bottom.
If I had to throw no
Zeus.
Jacqueline also. Jacqueline.
I don't know if she was actually in the Dungeon
As
of Doom.
listed as
When they kind of splintered off, we talked earlier, Chris Benoit and Sullivan had the retirement match.
Yeah.
And Jacqueline was managing Sullivan around that time.
Yeah.
So I think Dungeon of Doom had kind of like, more or less by that point.
Yeah. They still had it was Sullivan at the end, and the Ming and Barbarian were, I think, the Faces of Fear or something they said towards the end. Yeah. Back to that.
That sounds about right. One side note I wanted to throw in here, John Tenta actually got the shark tattoo.
Oh, did he?
On it. I think he later got it covered up when he went back to WWF, and it was like.
Was it a tiger?
I think
he originally had the tiger.
Yeah.
He got it changed to the shark.
Oh,
and
really?
then put something back over it again for a final time. I just would have kept the shark.
Yeah, that's horrible. Tattoo. Why the fuck would you
just keep changing your gimmick and your tattoo? I mean, hey. But anyway, that's my list with Dungeon of Doom. We had a couple disagreements on there. I think we covered the main people that were in there.
So neither one of you guys picked Master?
Yeah,
you said Master.
Oh, number one, because you can't have the Dungeon of Doom without the Master.
Didn't we find out he was in actually a Three Stooges movie?
Right. This was news to me, but we had done a little research prior to the show. Believe it or not, we do research on the show. A little bit. Who is this?
I don't know.
We're watching WrestleMania.
Well, they all have Sting faces.
Yeah, they all have Sting. Yeah, it's got to have Sting. They all went Sting, but it's very Asian, but they all
why are we having a, Asian motif for
I'm kind of confused. Did we switch the channels?
No, Mania's outside, so they can't. It's all bright and shit, so they can't do the whole dark things.
It's like a kabuki style. Interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, we found out the Master, King Curtis Iakea, was in a.
Was he Samoan?
Hawaiian.
No, he was Hawaiian. I believe he wrestled as Lord Blears before this. I could be totally wrong, but he became King Curtis Iakea.
He wrestled. Didn't he wrestle out of the Cowtown in Northern California and shit like that?
I believe you're right. I
think so. He had a feud with fucking Pat Patterson for a while.
He was a big name in wrestling for many years.
Ring names are the King, the Wizard, Prince Curtis. Last name?
Iakea?
Iakea.
No, he did. No,
the Bull and the Master.
He's out the San Francisco Cal Palace area. Mm-hmm. He had a feud with Pat Patterson.
Kind of almost like...
That's great. I didn't know it was him. He's fucking legendary. I forgot it was all...
almost like a pre-Abdul the Butcher. Like he was known for having the big gig marks across his head. Bald head, really huge guy.
No, his feuds with Pat Patterson in that area is what made... Supposedly that's what made...
Just the type of wrestler you really don't see anymore. Like, you just had, crazy looking guys back in that day.
Yeah, he appeared in the Three Stooges film, Go Around the World in a Daze.
Now, those were kind of known as shorts. Would they really be,
I think it'd be the 10 or 15 minute shorts, but they did call them films, because Charlie Chaplin's, some of those are only, 15, 10 minutes. They call those films. She was expensive back in the day, man.
Right. You could afford a film.
It took you 4 years to do 2 minutes.
We're just gonna we're gonna cut this off at 15.
People died just from developing the shit.
Right. King Curtis was also in the WWF as the Wizard, and this lasted very shortly. So he's probably they just didn't click, something wasn't right.
Different than the Kevin Nash's Wizard in WCW.
He brought that up. He brought that up in his Hall of Fame.
Oh, did he actually?
Did he really?
Yeah.
I thought he would kind of want to forget that shit.
No, he's like, hey, Dusty, thanks. Where's Dusty Rhodes at? Hey, thanks for the fucking... The Oz, that was great.
So he actually wrestled as Oz, right?
Yeah.
Because WCW had the rights to Wizard of Oz.
It was 3 times he showed up.
Came on a mask and stuff.
A Master Blaster was fucking...
And if I'm correct, Sullivan managed Oz, I believe. We might have to look that up.
Well, there was a guy in the wizard's suit.
There was a guy. There was a couple different guys. One guy answered the door. They knocked on this castle at one, and a guy answered the door the Wizard of Oz. It was all green, and a guy answered the door, and he came out with him. And they had. There's been a couple different guys.
I wonder who's came up with more crazier shit, Kevin Sullivan or Dusty Rhodes.
That's why I love
Dusty
Sullivan.
Rhodes shit's fucked up.
Right.
Shockmaster. fucking the Oz.
I believe sometimes you gotta take chances, man, and just see if it sticks.
Right,
you know? Just see, because there's weird gimmicks that people have.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Loved,
right,
you know,
right.
and like
that you don't think have a long shelf life, but like people just get attached
Gold
to it.
Dust. You know,
That's probably the top one. Like, did anyone really think Goldust would still be wrestling in 2015?
Mm-hmm.
We just saw him in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal in WrestleMania.
I mean, even the Ultimate Warrior character is so fucking over the top.
Mhm.
With giant tassels, face paint, talking about future shit.
Mm-hmm.
But like to target kids, like that was like the coolest.
Mm-hmm.
Like somebody yelling and ranting and raving at the top of his lungs and
Fucking bunga ballistic.
bright neon colors. Like you couldn't beat it.
Mm-hmm. No, you have to have it.
So I think that's going to do it for. Hey, well, let's talk about the final version of the Dungeon of Doom in USA Pro.
Oh yeah, USA Pro.
USA Pro runs in New York. I'm pretty sure. I want to say. I think the promoter there is Frank Goodman, who wrestles as like the Masked Maniac, something like that. USA Pro 2002. Sullivan worked there a lot, and they brought like a new version of the Dungeon.
Oh, they brought a new version of it?
Mm-hmm.
And they had
When was this?
2002.
Oh, 2002.
And yeah, so he kept it going, brought back a new version. Do we have the list of who were the members at that point?
I'm trying to look it up real quick.
There were some I didn't recognize, and let me see. I think he had. I can't really remember. A lot of guys from the older version were not active by then.
No, it wasn't. I'm trying to look up, but yeah, it was definitely a different group of guys.
Maybe Barbarian was still wrestling at
Oh,
the time.
man, it was probably something like the Barbarian, probably.
Oh, here we go. USA Pro Wrestling Promotion 2002. The group was Gangrel, Ludovic Shawn,
Nice.
The Wall, and Psycho Sam Dudley, who ended up having a tag belt with Big Dick Dudley.
Mhm.
So,
In this federation,
Yeah.
USA Pro.
2002.
Interesting.
It was New York based. Was the last time they had. And Ken Sweeney.
Ken Sweeney. Not familiar with
I don't
that name.
know. Yeah.
But Gangrel and Luna, very good choices for the
Well,
Dungeon of Doom. I think.
Last night, fucking, was it, I think it was, one of the Hall of Fame inductees gave a shout out to Gangrel, who's got like a training wrestling school.
Rikishi and Gangrel work together.
Yeah, they have like a training school together. And aren't they responsible for like the Rusev? I think they trained him for a while.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think Rusev came from that
Rusev's came
camp.
from there.
Gangrel's Canadian, correct or not?
Maybe originally, but I think he lives here now.
I could be wrong on that, but
I can't remember. Yeah, I think he was, because in Stampede he teamed as the Blackhearts.
Yeah,
another guy.
Hearts, yeah.
And the gimmick was like Stu Hart father like illegitimate children, and they were the Blackhearts. This was really what they said. Yeah,
Really?
that was the real gist of that gimmick. Like,
I mean, I do not remember that one at all.
they were like blackmailing Stu Hart, and like it was a guy that I can't remember who the other guy was, but David Heath Gangrel was one part of that.
That's fucking crazy. I never really realized that.
Yeah.
no, but yeah, I mean, with Kevin Sullivan, if anybody wants to check it out, come to the RockstarProWrestling.com website.
Yes,
They'll be in
definitely.
Dayton on April 3rd at the Rockstar Pro Arena, 1106 East 3rd Street. Tickets are $10 for general admission, $15 for front row. Front row is pretty close to being sold out, but again, that night, Kevin Sullivan will be going against Ganger. And then we also have Shane Douglas versus Jake Chris, and then our main event is Ron Mathis versus Matt Tremont. So
Amazing.
What? It's for the title.
for the
right?
title, actually, that night is the Ron Mathis match. But have Shane Douglas there and Kevin Sullivan the same night. Be kind of interesting.
So independent wrestlers, if you're serious about your game, like if you can't miss the seminar between Sullivan and Shane Douglas. Like there's so much knowledge between those two that like it's a crime if you miss it. honestly.
Yeah.
If you're serious about what you're doing.
Yeah, if you're a trained wrestler and want to just attend a seminar, get a hold of our Facebook at Rockstar Pro Wrestling or the website rockstarprowrestling.com. And April 3rd show, earlier in the afternoon, we'll be having a seminar by Kevin Sullivan and Shane Douglas. Super cheap. Just contact us through the Facebook or the website, and we'll send you more information about that and stuff.
Tremendous.
April
Hey, Ben,
3rd.
you want to hit us with the shows happening at Rockstar Pro Arena?
Yeah, I guess upcoming shows. Saturday, April 4th at 6 p.m. You vs. Yesterday. It's their album release party show, get together. doing each other's hair party with special guests.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. These kids sometimes, it's going to bring people. It's going to be great fun. But I don't know. I mean,
Fun for the whole family.
Yeah, bring them. Bring the dog.
Bring Grandpa.
We give a special carload discount. But anyway, they're going to be there at You Versus Yesterday, releasing an album. These kids nowadays, I guess, actually still release CDs and albums. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was all digital by now.
I thought so too, but
No 8-track version? No.
dude, that'd be
No
fucking,
vinyl?
I mean,
Well, vinyl's kind of hip again.
yeah.
I saw Shooter Jennings not too long ago. He had cassette tapes.
Yeah.
He had VHS tapes.
VHS tapes?
That's what really put it over the top for me.
How much was the VHS tapes, do you know?
Like 15.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I mean,
You
you
would
want to
think
hold
it
on to
like
VHS, you gotta pay for it. No. Anyway, continue.
Alright, yeah, can I get done with this?
Sorry, man, I did.
Alright.
I don't want to
His focus. Now he has to restart from the beginning. Damn it.
See? It's because that fucking cell phone shit. Anyway. So April 4th at 6 p.m., You Versus Yesterday with Violent Kind, Call It December, Bear With Us. It's $10. And also Saturday, April 18th at 7:30. Speaking of Shooter Jennings, this one's very similar to it.
Right.
That whole like outlaw cowboy.
Mm-hmm.
Whitey Morgan in the 78s.
Tremendous. Kind of like old country, you'd say, like George Jones. And
Outlaw
shit
country,
like
yeah.
that. Not like, who's a newer...
That Florida Georgia line fucking each other's head up their ass shit.
I've never even heard that.
It's horrible, dude.
Really?
It's fucking horrible. I mean, they probably make lots of good money and fucking all kinds of, but it's fucking horrible. It's
Well, fuck.
Are they worse
I
than
don't
5
care if they're
Seconds of
making
Summer?
they're like a grown-up version of it.
Are you familiar with 5 Seconds of
I
Summer?
don't think I've heard this.
They're like
Absolutely
fucking
great.
One Direction,
Check
but
them
they
out.
can play instruments.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Tremendous. For all the wrong reasons.
So,
But you're saying this is real country, right?
yeah, this is
the
real
deal.
like outlaw country. And this didn't make the list. I was wondering why. June 18th, we booked Green Jelly.
Yes, amazing. That's another thing I'm personally excited about. Fucking green jelly.
I mean, if anyone doesn't know the story of this band, just look it up on the internet. It's actually pretty fucking funny.
Okay, Green Jelly has had 83 members in the band.
Is it?
Yes. There's a website where he lists every member that's been in the band.
Yes.
Some people for like one show, maybe in 2 or 3 shows. There's
I mean,
been 83 members of Green Jelly.
The whole design of the band was to become the world's worst band.
But I think they're pretty good.
No, they actually formed song. They got real record deals and had to do real
Yeah,
songs
yeah.
and shit.
And most people don't remember. Their first album was kind of big. It had the 3 Little Pigs and all that.
Yeah.
For the second album was really good. People don't really remember that one, but they did the soundtrack to Maximum Carnage, the video game.
Oh, really?
Spider-Man,
Really?
yeah, on Sega Genesis. There's all kinds of cool shit. Like they had video projects. Like every song was made into a video.
Mm-hmm.
So really cool shit. I think a lot of people.
I mean, one of their legendary shows they're like known for is, I guess they opened up for the Ramones.
Yeah.
And they fucking opened up for Ramones, then literally they're one of the few bands where Ramones were like, who the fuck was that?
But
Like, you know, piqued interest in that band.
yeah, so many great songs on that first album, like "Obey the Cow God,"
Mm-hmm.
"Toucan Son of Sam."
Two games to the same.
Just
And-
great shit.
And
It's amazing.
if you want tickets or more information on their shows, just go to rockstarproarena.com and there'll be information on it.
That's
concerts
right.
And stuff.
I think we're done here, man. SG1 out in transmission. Dungeon to Doom. Kevin Sullivan coming soon.
Kevin Sullivan, definitely.
My man.
Zodiac.
My power is 1,000,000 times greater than the power of Hulkamania. I am the greatest giant to ever walk the face of the earth. And I